The air was heavy. Ash fell slowly from the sky like gray snow. The land was broken, full of burned trees and shattered rocks. Smoke moved through the fields like ghosts. Jack was alone. He walked carefully through the ruins of what was once a village. His boots crunched on black glass and twisted metal. He wore a dark coat and carried a pulse rifle, always ready. His job was simple: scout the old battleground, look for any alien tech, and return before nightfall. But something didn't feel right. He paused and listened. The wind whistled quietly. Somewhere far away, a machine hummed and then stopped. Jack was about to move again when he heard it, a soft sound. A whimper, a cry. He raised his weapon. The sound came from behind a broken wall. He stepped closer. His eyes scanned the area. His breath slowed. Then, from the smoke, a voice whispered, "Please, .. Don't shoot." Jack froze. A figure stepped out slowly. It was a woman. Not human. Her skin was a light violet, and her eyes glowed softly like stars in water. She wore a long cloak, torn and dirty. In her arms, she held a small child with the same glowing eyes, wrapped in old cloth. "I'm not your enemy," she said, her voice shaking. "Please, I have a child." Jack kept his gun raised. "Who are you?" "My name is Vela." She answered, "We've been hiding for days. No food, no water. Please help us. Why should I trust you?" Jack asked coldly. Vela didn't answer right away. Instead, she did something Jack didn't expect. She dropped to her knees. "I offer myself to you," she said. "Take us ... as yours. I know you're kind. You protect those who serve you. Make me your concubine. I will clean your home, serve your needs, anything. Just don't leave us here to die." Jack's eyes widened. He lowered his rifle a little. "What did you say?" The child looked up at him. Her face was thin. Her lips were dry. She clung to her mother tightly but looked at Jack with quiet hope. "You want me to take you?" "Like a slave?" "Not a slave," Vela whispered. "A belonging. It is our custom. A woman with no clan is nothing. I have no family now. My people call me a traitor because my child's father was a soldier, ... a human soldier." Jack stepped back, stunned. "You had a child?" "With a human?" Vela nodded. "He died in the war. Saving your kind. Now no one will protect me or my daughter. They hunt us. They say we are impure. If they find us, they will burn us." The little girl coughed. Jack stared at her. Something in his chest felt tight. "Why me?" he asked. "Because you're the first human I've seen in weeks. And because ... She looked up, her eyes full of fear and pride. "Because I want my daughter to live." The wind grew stronger. A distant sound echoed, buzzing. Drones. Jack looked toward the hills. Red lights blinked in the smoke. "We don't have time," he said quickly. He looked at Vela. "Can you run?" "Yes." Jack grabbed her arm and pulled her to her feet. "Then come with me, but don't slow me down." They ran. The ground shook as drones passed overhead. Jack led them through the ruins, down a hidden path into the trees. He knew a small bunker nearby, old, broken, but enough to hide for now. As they reached the metal hatch, the child coughed again. Jack opened the door and pushed them inside. He sealed it behind them. Inside, it was dark and cold, but safe. Vela sat in the corner, hugging her child. She didn't speak. Jack stood near the door, breathing heavily. "What's her name?" he asked after a while. "Lena," Vela said softly. Jack looked at the girl. She was staring at him. Then she spoke. "Are you my new dad now?" Jack blinked. He didn't know what to say. He had come here looking for old tech. Instead, ... he found a broken alien woman, a hybrid child, and a question that touched a place he had buried long ago. Silence filled the hidden bunker. The metal walls were cold, covered in dust and old rust marks. A single lantern gave off weak light, casting shadows across the cracked floor. Jack sat by the door, his rifle across his lap. He kept his eyes on the strange woman and her child. He still didn't know if he had made the right choice. What if she was lying? What if it was a trap? But something about her eyes, and the way the little girl called him Dad, made it hard to walk away. The woman finally spoke. "My name is Vela," she said, breaking the silence. "Thank you for not leaving us." Jack didn't answer. He just nodded. Vela looked down at her daughter, who had fallen asleep in her arms. The girl's chest rose and fell softly. Her tiny fingers still clutched a torn piece of cloth that looked like a soldier's scarf. Jack's eyes narrowed. "That scarf. It's human." "Yes," Vela whispered. "It belonged to her father." Jack turned fully toward her. "You said he was a human soldier. That's not possible. Our military banned relationships with your kind." "He didn't care about rules," Vela said, a faint smile on her lips. "He cared about me. And when he found out I was pregnant, he swore he'd protect us. But he died before she was born. He died saving civilians during the orbital strike." Jack stared at the floor. He remembered that strike. It was brutal. Entire squads were lost. "So your people called you a traitor?" Vela nodded slowly. "My clan cast me out. To them, I'm worse than dead. I broke tradition, mixed blood with a human, and gave birth to what they call a half-breed." Jack looked at the child. She didn't look dangerous. She looked tired, cold, and innocent. Vela continued. "They say we stained the bloodline. They sent hunters after us. I've been hiding in the ruins ever since." Jack rubbed his face. "Why didn't you try to leave the planet?" "I tried," she said. "But the only ships that come here now are scavengers or bounty hunters. None of them would help. They just laugh. Or worse." Jack understood. Some mercenaries would sell her back to her own people for coin. Others might take her offer seriously, but with cruel intentions. "I didn't mean what I said before." Vela added quickly, "I don't want to be a concubine." "That's not who I am." Jack glanced up. She met his gaze. "I said it because I thought it was the only thing that would make you help me." "I was desperate." Jack's jaw tightened. "Then what do you want from me?" "A chance to live," she said firmly. "For her. For Lena. I don't care what name you give it. A servant. A guest. A refugee. I just want her to grow up safe. Away from death. Away from hate." Jack looked at the sleeping girl again. Her small face reminded him of someone. His sister's child. Gone now. Killed in the first week of the war. "I'm not a hero," he said quietly. "You're the first human who didn't look at me with disgust," Vela replied. "That's enough for me." Suddenly, Jack's tracker beeped. He grabbed it quickly. Red signal. Moving. Getting closer. Jack cursed under his breath. "Drones?" Vela asked, standing up quickly. "Maybe," he said. "Or something worse." He stood, slinging his rifle over his shoulder. "We have to move." "There's no place safe," Vela whispered. "There's one," Jack said. "An old fuel station beneath the cliffs, still has power and blast doors. If we're fast, we can reach it before night." He picked up a small pack and tossed it to Vela. "Carry what you can. We're leaving in 5 minutes." Vela gently lifted Lena, who stirred but didn't cry. As they climbed the narrow ladder out of the bunker, Jack glanced back at the woman. She was strong, but not just in body. In heart. This wasn't a helpless alien. This was a mother willing to give up her pride to save her child. And somehow. Jack found himself wanting to protect her, not because she asked, but because she deserved it. The sky was turning red, not from sunset, but from smoke and fire rising far behind them. Jack moved fast across the rocky terrain, his boots slipping on ash-covered stones. Vela followed closely, carrying her daughter Lena in her arms. The Girl was awake now, but quiet. Her eyes watched everything, alert and wide. They had left the bunker only minutes ago, but already Jack could feel the danger closing in. His scanner beeped again. 3 signals, not machines. Moving like hunters. He stopped behind a large stone and turned to Vela. They're tracking us. Vela's face went pale. It's them, my people, the Death Seekers. Jack raised an eyebrow. Death Seekers? They are sent after outcasts like me, she whispered. They don't talk. They don't take prisoners. They erase those who shamed the clan. Jack looked at Lena. They'll kill her too? Vela nodded. Worse. They'll say she was never born. Jack clenched his jaw. He didn't have time for alien politics, but something about this made his blood boil. We'll lead them away, he said. But you need to trust me. I do, she said without hesitation. They moved quickly, cutting through an old mining tunnel. The place was dark, but Jack knew the layout from his scout maps. The fuel station was close, maybe another hour. But the signals were getting stronger. Suddenly, a sharp sound rang through the air, a high-pitched screech, not natural, not human. Vela grabbed Jack's arm. That's their call. They know where we are. Jack pulled out a small EMP mine from his belt. Let's give them a surprise. He planted it behind a rock and activated the timer. Then they ran, but before they could reach the next path, 3 tall shapes dropped from the cliffs above. Their armor was black, their faces hidden behind smooth silver masks. Long curved blades hung from their backs. Jack stopped. His rifle was ready. But they didn't move right away. One of them pointed at Vela, then at Lena. Then he spoke in a cold, metallic voice. You have one chance, human. Leave the stain and walk away. Or die with them. Jack didn't blink. Your threats are boring, he said calmly. Try me. The alien hissed. Jack fired first. The blast hit one in the chest, throwing him back. The others charged. Jack rolled and took cover behind a rock. He fired again, hitting the second one in the leg. But the third reached him, swinging the blade. Vela screamed. Jack dodged and punched the alien in the side, then slammed his elbow into the helmet. Sparks flew, but the alien was strong. It knocked Jack to the ground. Its blade lifted, ready to kill. Then something unexpected happened. A sharp scream. A flash of light. The alien froze, confused. Smoke rose from its chest. Vela stood behind it, holding a strange alien weapon. She had picked it up from the fallen hunter and used it perfectly. The last attacker dropped to the ground. Silence. Droned and sat up, rubbing his ribs. You fight well. Vela looked down at the weapon in her hands. My clan says women should never touch these, Jack smiled. Guess you're not part of their clan anymore. They left quickly, moving through the tunnel before more came. The empty mine exploded behind them with a loud bang, shaking the ground. When they reached the edge of the cliffs, Jack finally allowed them to rest. Lena looked up at him. Did you save us? Jack was about to say yes when Vela spoke first. No, little star, she said gently. We saved each other. Jack looked at her, and for the first time, she looked free. The wind howled across the crater's edge like a wounded animal. Sharp dust whipped through the air. Jack led the way down a narrow rocky path, shielding his eyes, while Vela followed closely behind, her arms tightly wrapped around Lena. They had walked for hours. Jack's body ached. But he didn't stop, not yet. Not until they were safe. We're close, he said, pointing toward a shadow hidden in the cliff wall below. There. The shelter looked like nothing at all, just a jagged pile of rock and dirt. But to trained eyes, the shape was unnatural. A collapsed fuel station from the early human colonist days. Long buried and forgotten. Jack dropped to his knees and brushed the dirt aside, revealing a rusted hatch. He pressed a code on a half-broken keypad. Click. The hatch creaked open, releasing A stale breath of air from deep below. Jack stepped aside. After you. Vela hesitated, looking into the darkness. Then she stepped down, carrying Lena close to her chest. Jack followed, sealing the hatch behind them. Inside was silence, cold, deep, and heavy. But as they moved deeper into the tunnel, small lights flickered to life. Jack had activated the backup power system. Just enough to run lights, air, and heat. The shelter wasn't large, but it had old bunk beds, a broken comms panel, crates of emergency supplies, and walls strong enough to survive a blast. Lena, eyes wide with wonder, whispered, "Is this a home?" Jack paused. He hadn't thought of it like that, but maybe, for now, it could be. Later, after a quick meal of ration packs and purified water, Jack worked on fixing the station's main door controls. He used his tools in silence while Vela sat beside the sleeping Lena, brushing the child's hair gently with her fingers. She watched Jack for a long time. "You're different from other humans," she said softly. Jack didn't look up. "You mean I haven't tried to sell you yet? I mean, you haven't tried to use me," Jack chuckled dryly. "You're not something to be used," Vela tilted her head. "But I offered myself. I begged, and I said no. Why?" Jack finally looked at her. His voice was low. "Because you weren't really asking. You were surviving. I've seen that look before. My people wore it too when the bombs fell, and they had no food left, and no help came." Vela blinked, surprised. "You understand?" "I understand more than you think." She stood and walked over to him. "You saved me twice now. My people wouldn't have done that for me." "They should have," Jack said. "They had no right to cast you out." Vela was quiet. Then she reached into her cloak and pulled something out, a small crystal necklace. She held it up. "This belonged to my mother. She gave it to me when I was chosen to be a life-bearer for our kind. Back then, I thought it was a great honor. Now it's just a memory of chains." Jack looked at the necklace. "You want to forget it?" "No," she said. "I want to rewrite what it means, not because I'm owned, but because I chose to live differently." Jack nodded slowly. "You don't need to offer yourself to anyone anymore." She gave a small smile. "I'm not offering, I'm asking something else." Jack raised an eyebrow. "What?" "Will you help me give her a future?" She pointed toward the sleeping Lena. "Not as a weapon, not as a mistake, but as someone who belongs. Somewhere." Jack's voice was quiet. "She already belongs." Vela's eyes glistened. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A loud thump echoed through the walls. Jack jumped to his feet. What was that? He rushed to the panel and tapped the scanner. Movement. Outside. Just one. Vela's hand went to her daughter. "They found us again?" Jack narrowed his eyes. "Maybe, but something's different." He pulled out his rifle and walked toward the hatch. Before opening it, he turned to Vela. "If I don't come back, stay inside. Protect her." Vela grabbed his hand. "Then come back. I don't want to rewrite this story alone." The door opened with a slow hiss. Jack stepped out into the dust-filled wind, rifle raised, heart steady. His eyes scanned the rocky landscape, every muscle ready for a fight. But no enemy stood waiting. Instead, just one figure knelt at the base of the rocks, a wounded alien man in torn armor, his hands raised in surrender. Blood dripped from his shoulder. Jack pointed the rifle. "Move and you're dead." The man coughed, then looked up with pale, frightened eyes. "Please, don't shoot. I'm not with the Death Seekers. I deserted them. I saw what they did to women like her." Jack didn't lower the rifle. "Why follow us then?" "I wasn't following," the alien gasped. "I was running, and I heard your voice echo in the cliffs. You're the one hiding the outcast. And her child." Jack stayed silent. "I just want peace," the man whispered. "Let me stay here. I won't harm you." Jack studied his face. He didn't see a liar, but he also didn't see someone he could trust. "Leave your weapons," Jack ordered. Then walk away. Keep walking. If I see you again, you're done." The alien dropped a blade, turned, and limped away. Jack waited until the figure vanished into the fog before heading back into the shelter. Inside, Vela was waiting near the hatch, arms tight around Lena. "Who was it?" she asked. "Someone broken," Jack replied. "Like the rest of us." He knelt near Lena. She was awake, small eyes blinking sleepily. Then, in a soft, brave voice, she asked, "Did you fight bad men again?" Jack chuckled. "Not this time." "Little star." She sat up and looked at him seriously. "Can I ask you something?" Jack nodded. "Can I call you Dad?" "If you want to be." The words hit Jack harder than any enemy blade ever had. He froze. Vela's eyes widened, not with shock, but hope. Her breath caught. Jack looked at Lena's face, so innocent, so trusting. He had never been a father. He had never even imagined being one. The war had taken too much, but this child, this strange glowing-eyed child from another species, was asking him not for food, not for help, but for a place in his heart. And deep inside, he knew he had already made space for her. He gave her a soft smile. "Yeah, you can call me that." Lena smiled wide and crawled into his lap. Jack held her gently, unsure of what to do with his hands, until they wrapped around her on their own. Vela watched in silence, tears forming in her eyes. She sat beside them. "I've never seen her smile like that," she whispered. Jack looked at her. "She deserves more of it." "So do you," Vela replied. They stayed like that for a long time, three souls wrapped in a quiet warmth that had nothing to do with the heater. It was something more ancient, more human. Family. That night, Lena slept soundly in a bunk, curled up with a soft blanket Jack had found in a crate. Vela and Jack sat near the door. The wind outside had calmed. "She asked you," Vela said softly. "Not me, not her own kind, you." "I didn't ask for this," Jack replied. "I just came to scavenge old tech." "And instead, you found a daughter," she whispered. Jack smiled a little. "And a strange, stubborn alien woman who keeps saving me." Vela smiled back. "You saved me first." A long silence passed between them. Then she said something unexpected. "In our culture, when a child names someone as their bonded protector, it is considered sacred. It means she's given her trust to you completely." Jack looked back at the sleeping girl. "Well," he said, "I guess I'd better be worthy of it." Vela leaned her head against the wall. She chose well. But far in the darkness, deep in the hills, glowing red eyes blinked. The Death Seekers had not given up. They had found a trail. And next time, they would not come one at a time. The silence shattered. The shelter's alarm screamed to life, lights flashing red. Jack jumped from his bed, grabbing his rifle before the next breath. Vela pulled Lena close, wrapping her cloak around the girl, as if her arms alone could stop what was coming. Jack checked the scanner. Multiple hostiles. Moving fast, encircling. "They found us," he said. Vela's voice trembled. "How many?" Jack's eyes narrowed. "At least 8. Maybe more. They're not wasting time anymore." Vela's hands shook, but her voice stayed calm. "Then they're coming to finish me." "No," Jack said, gripping her shoulder. "They're coming for all of us now." Suddenly, a deep, echoing voice rang through the station's speaker system, their speakers. They had hijacked the signal. "Human, come out. We will not burn your shelter. If you give us the traitor and her abomination, this is your only chance. Refuse, and all inside will die." Lena whimpered. Vela stood and reached for the door. "I'll go." "They'll leave you alone." Jack stopped her. "No, you're not going anywhere. Not alone." Vela looked at him, heartbreaking. "They won't let us live, Jack. You know that." Jack stared at the floor. Then his voice turned cold, clear, and sharp. "Then we make them fight for it." Outside, the Death Seekers had formed a ring around the crater. Their armor gleamed. Black under the burning red sky. Torches lit the night, casting monstrous shadows. At the center stood their commander. He removed his mask, a face carved with old battle scars and burning eyes. "We offer ancient justice," the commander called. "Let the humans stand for her. Let him take the trial of blood and fire. If he wins, she lives. The child lives. If he dies, all burn." Vela whispered, "No, that trial is sacred. No human has ever walked it." Jack looked at her, unflinching. "Good, that means they won't see me coming." He stepped forward. "I'll fight." The circle was drawn. With burning ash, a ring of fire. One man versus 3 chosen warriors, armed, trained, deadly. No rules. Only one survivor. Jack stepped inside the circle. No gun. Just a staff taken from the armory wall, old tech, solid steel. He cracked his neck, eyes locked on the first attacker. Vela stood far outside the ring, holding Lena's hand. Her heart raced so fast she could barely breathe. She had asked Jack to protect them. But now he was fighting for their right to exist. The gong rang. The first warrior charged. Jack ducked under the swing, pivoted, and struck behind the knee. The alien dropped. Jack finished him with a sharp blow to the neck. The second came faster, spinning, slicing the air. Jack got hit, just once along the ribs. Blood soaked his shirt, but he kept going. He roared, tackled the attacker, and headbutted him into the flames. The crowd gasped as the body burned. Only one remained. The commander himself stepped in. A silence fell over the arena. "You fight well, human," he said. Jack's breathing was heavy. "I fight for more than myself." The commander charged like a beast. Blade in hand, faster than the others. Their weapons clashed. Sparks flew. Jack fought with fury, pain, and something the commander didn't understand: purpose. Every time Jack was knocked down, he stood back up. Blood dripped. Muscles screamed. But he kept moving. Kept fighting. Vela whispered under her breath, praying in a language she had forgotten long ago. And then Jack dropped his staff, letting the commander swing wide. At the last second, he caught the alien's arm and flipped him into the flames. Silence. Then, screams, cheers, shock. The Deathseekers stared at the fire, unsure what to do. Jack stood alone, burnt and bleeding, but alive. "I won your trial," he said. "Now honor your law." The second in command stepped forward and knelt. "We will not harm the girl or her mother. You have earned their freedom." That night, the shelter was quiet again. Jack lay on a bed, stitched up and bruised. Vela sat beside him, holding his hand. Lena curled at his side, one arm resting gently on his chest. "You didn't have to do that," Vela whispered. Jack opened his eyes. "Yes, I did. Because you're not just someone I saved anymore." Vela leaned closer. "What are we then?" Jack smiled faintly. "A family." The sky above the crater turned silver. It was the first peaceful morning in weeks. No fire, no ash, no footsteps of hunters. Only soft wind and the sound of breathing inside the shelter. Jack stood at the top of the crater, bandages wrapped around his ribs. His body still ached from the trial, but inside he felt something stronger than pain. He felt purpose. Behind him, Vela stepped into the light, Lena's small hand in hers. "Are you sure?" she asked. Jack turned around, smiling. "Yeah, we're done hiding. I've sent a signal to the outer colony ships." One of them answered. "They're coming." Vela's eyes widened. "They'll take us?" "They'll take us," Jack said. Firmly. "All 3 of us. I didn't tell them your story. I just said I had a family that needed a fresh start." Vela stepped closer. "And they believed you?" "I told them the truth," Jack said. "That we're survivors. That we've fought more than one war. And that we're ready for something new." Lena ran up the slope and hugged Jack's leg. "Are we going to the stars now, Dad?" Jack looked down, his heart full. "Yeah, little star. We are. The ship came at sunset. It wasn't a warship. Not a giant cruiser. Just a small cargo transport, retrofitted for passengers. But to them, it was the most beautiful thing in the sky. The pilot stepped out, an older human woman with cybernetic eyes. She looked at Jack, then at Vela and Lena. "This your crew?" Jack smiled. "This is my family." The pilot nodded. "Then let's get you home." Inside the ship, Jack helped Lena buckle into her seat while Vela gazed out the window at the dying world below. A world that had taken so much from her, and yet somehow gave her more than she ever imagined. Jack sat beside her. "You okay?" Vela didn't answer right away. Her eyes shimmered as she whispered, "I thought I'd die alone in the dust. Now I'm leaving the planet with a child, and a man who risked everything for us." Jack shrugged. "Guess I was just in the right crater at the right time." Vela turned toward him and gently touched his cheek. "No, Jack, you are the right man." As the engines roared to life, Lena looked out the window. "Will we still be a family out there?" she asked softly. Jack reached across and held both her hand and Vela's. "Wherever we go, as long as we're together, we're home." The ship lifted off. The crater, the old battles, the fear, the fire, it all faded beneath them. They weren't running anymore. They were rising. Months later, on a peaceful green colony at the edge of human space, a small home stood near a lake. Birds sang. Trees swayed, and laughter filled the air. A little girl with glowing eyes ran through the grass, a wooden toy ship in her hand. Inside the home, Vela stood at the window, her belly slightly round now, a new life growing inside her. She smiled as Jack stepped in, covered in dirt and grease from fixing an old engine. "Told you I could make it fly again," he said proudly. Vela walked over and kissed his cheek. "I believed you the moment you saved us." Jack wrapped an arm around her. "I didn't just save you." "I know," she whispered. "You found us." Outside, Lena waved from the yard. "Come on, Dad, race me." Jack stepped out into the sunlight, heart light, soul full. As he chased his daughter across the grass, the stars sparkled above. Even in daylight. Not every story needs a crown or a throne. Sometimes, the greatest story ... is finding a family where no one thought one could exist.